evening. I'd like to call to order the City of Deltona's Planning and Zoning Board's meeting for October 16, 2024. Can we have a roll call?
Member Alexander. Member Gonzalez.
Here.
Member Pfeffer.
Here.
Secretary Amoroso. Here. Vice Chair Cardo.
Present.
Chair Burke.
Present.
Alternate Dierico.
Here.
Alternate Zlatos.
Here.
Good evening. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the September 18th meeting. We will table that until next month. The fourth item, presentation of awards and reports. Are there any to present today? No. I will next ask to take out of order Ordinance 16-2024, amending the official zoning map to rezone 14.43 acres of land located at 2830, 2846, 2855 Lake Helen Osteen Road from the residential estate 1, RE1, to mixed usage plan unit development. The city would like to approach.
The applicant would like to come up and speak about this item.
Okay. You may proceed.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, I'm Mark Watts. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Cobb Cole, and my address is 231 North Woodland Boulevard, DeLand. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening. And you've seen that we put a request in to go ahead and table this to a later meeting. We were made aware earlier today and some yesterday of some concerns that have been raised by folks in the area. And obviously, we're all seeing some of the flooding and other things that are going on throughout Deltona and the rest of Volusia County right now. So we'd like to pause for a moment, schedule some community meetings to have some conversations about those concerns, and then come back. Initially, we were going to ask to go to your November meeting. I understand there may not be a full board here in November, so we'd be fine going to the December meeting as well. And that'll give us some time to have those conversations and then make any necessary adjustments in what we're proposing as well.
Okay. Is there any comments or questions from the board?
No.
Thank you. Dr. Pfeffer? We're not talking about substantive questions, just...
The other question.
Oh, no, we're going to table it until
I know.
the December, so I'm not going to open it up for discussion now. We're going to
I
table
have
the
a
whole
question
matter.
on the reason for tabling.
Oh, okay. I thought he answered it, but proceed.
Yes, sir.
Are you tabling it so that it's farther away in time from flooding, so it won't be such an issue?
No, I think flooding obviously is a significant concern right now. We all recognize that we have friends and family that are going through it as well. I think it gives us an opportunity to look at what's going on, how our project, can address some of the concerns that have been raised in the information we've been sent, and then bring it back once we've been able to address those. In the meantime, also have conversation with some of the neighborhood around us to make sure we are addressing specific concerns as well.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
This matter will be tabled until the December Planning and Zoning Board meeting.
And Marcia, I don't know if you need a specific date on that, or do you?
It's typically the third Wednesday in the month, unless for some reason there's last-minute scheduling.
We had a date for November, but I don't know that we have one for December.
It's going to be completely re-advertised, so we don't have to have a
Okay.
date certain.
Okay,
So no,
so as
then
long
we're
as we're re-advertising, we're okay. I just wanted to make sure that we were making the notice appropriately. So.
Okay. And I appreciate the crowd and the community coming out and voicing their opinion. Eventually, I'm sorry that we had to table it, but apparently this is at the request of the applicant.
Yeah, and thank you for your time this evening. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
I was just waiting. Yep. I'm going to wait a few minutes and go to the next item. Good idea. Just to table it?
Yeah, to approve the minutes. Do we need a motion?
To table it? I don't think so. Not to table for another. We didn't move anything to table this one. I I mean, I guess I could have asked if there was any objection or anything, but I think from a procedural point of view, we're okay.
We're okay,
I
right?
think so, yes.
Yeah, I think on reflection, I think it was they requested it. It wasn't someone up here requesting it.
Are you talking about this agenda now? Yeah, they were.
we're talking about the
He's still
minutes.
talking about the minutes.
Oh, sorry.
The minutes. Okay, I had used an executive decision and took things out of order, but now I'd like to go back to resume to the agenda as scheduled. Public forum, is there anyone here regarding public forum? And if it is, we need to, no, okay, this may be a good time anyway. Well, we don't need to have sworn witnesses for the two matters that are on the agenda. Okay, I didn't think so. All right, so new business. The resolution number 2024-58, granting a variance to allow for an approximate 4,462 square foot existing office building to encroach within the side or rear setbacks located at 1670 Providence Boulevard within the C1 retail commercial zoning classification.
Good evening, Planning and Zoning Board. Resolution number 2024-58 is what we're going to be discussing tonight for variance request VAR 24-0010. To first and foremost provide some background information, the project site is 1670 Providence Boulevard. The parcel is roughly around 0.36 acres. It is currently within the C1 zoning district retail commercial, and the future land use of the property is commercial. The development on the property was built in 1988, and I'm going to provide a timeline and discuss a little bit more about how that timeline kind of goes out for the development itself. So the property, like I mentioned, was developed and built in 1988. The original builder for the development applied for and was granted the permit in May of 1987. As I'm sure you all are aware, the city of Deltona was not incorporated until the mid to late 90s. So with that, Volusia County was the municipality that ended up having the jurisdiction over the development at that time. So the builder ended up applying with Volusia County and was granted the permit in May of 1987. With the granting of the permit between June of 1987 and March of 1988, the construction period for the development began, and once the development worked to complete, the final inspections were begun to be called for the property. On April 6 of 1988, the fire inspection final was called in and passed. On April 8, 1988, the building final inspection was called in and passed, and on April 11, 1988, the zoning final inspection was called in and passed. And I've also provided a copy of the division final approvals from the original permit with Volusia County, showing that all of the different departments with Volusia County did indeed sign off and approve of the building once it was fully completed and built on the property. This is an aerial of the property at 1670 Providence Boulevard to provide some context of what the outside looks like in the general area around it. The variance request, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow for the existing office building to encroach within the side and rear setback of the property at 1670 Providence Boulevard within the retail commercial C1 zoning district. The current land development code requires a side yard setback of 5 feet and a rear yard setback of 15 feet. The side yard distance from the left property line to the building setback is 4.7 feet in one section of the building, and additionally, the rear yard distance from the property line to the building setback in one section of the rear of the building is 14.6 feet, and we're going to talk a little bit more of kind of how that looks on the property itself. So this is a current survey of the property, and the two areas in red that I've circled are going to be the areas that we're talking about in reference to the encroachment in the setback. So first, to talk about the side setback encroachment, like I mentioned, the land development code does require a 5-foot setback on the sides of the property, and on the left side here, as you can see in this one area I've circled in red, it's not actually 5 feet, it is 4.7 feet instead. So if we take that 5-foot area and we take away the current distance between the property line and the building in that one section I've circled in red, that equals a 5-inch encroachment in that one section there. And one thing thing I would like to put out when you're looking at the picture of the survey, the setback line is that dashed line, so you can see that the building actually slowly works away from the setback. It's only that one section in red that I've circled that actually encroaches within the side setback. Moving to the rear setback encroachment, if we apply the same concept of first taking the LDC requirement for the setback being 15 feet, and we take away the distance from the property line to the building in this one section that I've circled in red on the rear of the property at 14.6 feet, that results in a 6-inch encroachment in this one section here. And similar to the side of the property, the rear building as well slowly works away from the setback line. So again, with that, it's only the small section circled in red that actually encroaches within the rear setback. So some matters of consideration to highlight: LDC Chapter 110-315, which outlines the retail commercial district C1 zoning requirements. This building and the development itself does meet current standards for 110-315, of course, outside of this encroachment, which we're applying for the variance for here. And additionally, LDC Chapter 110-1103, outlining variances. This application does meet 110-1103 by first and foremost seeing that it was previously permitted and approved for with Volusia County, which was the jurisdiction at the time of the development of this property. It has maintained the same footprint of the building from 1988 all the way up to today. And additionally, it is not the fault of the applicant of this variance or the current owner. The current owner of the property has only owned the building since 2021. So with that, they certainly were not involved in the application or any of the approvals or inspections of the original building being built in 1988. With this as well, it certainly does have a minimal impact, if any, seeing that these encroachments are very slight, with only being 5 and 6 inches on the side and rear, and they do not take up any more of the property outside of those 2 sections that I've circled in red. With this, our staff recommendation, based on decision-making criteria, staff supports the Planning and Zoning Board recommending the City Commission approve Resolution Number 2024-58, granting a variance for the current encroachment of the office building at 1670 Providence within the rear and side setbacks. Thank you, and I'll now be accepting any staff questions you may have. The applicant for the variance is also with me, so after staff questions, if you have any questions for the applicant, I'd be happy to invite him up as well.
Well, thank you. Any questions?
May I?
Yes. You can start.
Hi, nice job. Thank you. That was a great presentation.
Appreciate it.
So I do have a few questions, right? It's my understanding that the property wants to be sold, and unless this variance is approved, the property cannot be sold. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So is there a way, because it sounds like, unfortunately, right, this needs to be done. It was 30 years from 30 years ago, and it sounds like it was just a trickle down? Yes, thank you. You saw what I was doing there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
With my hand. So how do we, moving forward, can we put something in place where if there is going to be any reconstruction or the building is going to be torn down and rebuilt, that it goes back to what the proper setback should be? So how do we protect ourselves in the future?
I believe we could put conditions on that. Is that correct, Jessica?
Counsel.
So if they are coming in for any type of permit in the future for the property, they will have to abide by the new setbacks. So they wouldn't be able to add anything else in the setbacks at all.
Okay.
Thank you. I was going to direct the council to inform the board of that, but thank you very much. I appreciate you letting us know.
Thank you. I'm all set. That was.
Would you like to proceed?
Yes, thank you. So my question was what predicated the need for this variance, and I think we just discovered that the property is proposed for sale, so.
Yes, ma'am.
That takes care of my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Anyone prepared to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend resolution number 2024-58 be recommended or be sent to the City Commission for approval.
Now that it's been second, any discussion? Any need to discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor, say aye.
I think he's going to call the roll.
I thought this is not item that requires a roll
Oh,
call.
I'm sorry.
Is it, does it? You don't have to give her explanation. Is that the distinction?
We normally always do roll for this.
Okay, go ahead, proceed then.
Member Gonzalez?
Gonzalez votes aye. Yes.
Member Pfeffer?
Yes.
Zetos?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cardo?
Yes.
Chair Burke?
Yes.
Passes.
I think you missed a
7-0.
couple of board members.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, so yeah, I guess.
My bad. Technically, you're right.
It would be pretty rough if we didn't approve our own motion.
Sorry about that.
Duly noted.
So, motion's passed 7.
Yes, motion passed 7-0.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 17-2024, amending section 110-806, fences, walls, and hedges of Article 8, supplementary regulations of Chapter 110 zoning and of the Land Development Code of the City of Deltona. Good evening.
Great. Good evening, Planning and Zoning Board. Tonight, we're going to go over ordinance number 17-2024. This is going to be some changes to the fence ordinance that most of you saw last year. This section was approved October 16th, 2024. The updates for section 110-806 include updating the 5-year survey requirement to allow surveys to depict the current conditions of the property, regardless of the age. This will follow other survey requirements for zoning permits. We are asking to remove the waterfront and golf course rear yard fence opacity requirements, and requiring waterfront properties to have a survey 2 years or less to ensure high water marks and FEMA information is accurate. Staff is recommending the Planning and Zoning Board recommend the City Commission approve ordinance number 17-2024, amending section 110-806, fences, walls, hedges in the Land Development Code. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions?
I do, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, fine.
So I did notice, Jessica, just a question. So on the item E, number 2, when we're 2 and 3, when we're talking about the rear yard and the side yard. So the rear yard indicates shall not exceed 8 feet, which I love that because we're making it a little taller. But then the side yard is 6 feet. I was just curious why we just didn't make that consistent, just to make it a little easier for folks to.
I believe we did that because if your fence falls over, you're going all the way into your neighbor's yard. That I believe is what was done in the past. We didn't change that. That was done in 2023. So we just didn't change that item.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I'm not sure I understand your last statement, the significance. Can you repeat it or explain it further for me?
From what I understood in 2020, why it was done only 6 feet instead of the 8 feet was in case the fence fell over, it was less in the neighbor's yard. If it falls, it's going to be in the neighbor's yard no matter what.
Oh, it's
But
less
that's how
than.
I
Okay,
understood
was
it last
trying-
year.
That was the part I was trying to understand. It's less than. Okay, I was trying to figure out how it was going to fall, not fall in the neighbor's yard. Any other questions? I'm not sure I understand the distinction on the waterfront. What was the distinction that you guys are making the changes in that
So
regard?
we're taking away the opacity. Right now, if you have a waterfront lot, you have to have a chain link fence, essentially in the back. We're the only city I could find that has that rule. And that is one of the reasons we were asking for it to be removed. We've had a lot of residents come in and they have PVC fence or wood fence all the way around their yard, and their back is having to be chain link for any waterfront yards. So that's the reason we were asking for it to be changed.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Have you guys taken into consideration the financial burden it's going to put on homeowners to provide structural engineered drawings for fences over 8 feet or over 6 feet?
I have not had any permits for 8-foot fences as of in the last year, since we've updated
So you're
it.
not mandating a maximum or a minimum height of 8 feet. You're just saying it's a maximum height of 8 feet. Okay, so if somebody wants to put in a 6-foot fence,
We do not need airing drawings at all.
okay, so still allowed. Okay, thank you.
So it's once they go above the 6 feet, then it
Yes.
requires? Okay.
And that's a building code.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
I have a question. Your first bullet point, updating the 5-year survey requirement, is that for all properties in the city limits? I'm going to understand that.
So as of right now, our code requires for any fence permit to have a survey that's 5 years or less.
Okay, for a fence, okay.
Yes. We're asking for that to be changed, so as long as the survey depicts the current layout of the property, we will accept it. The 5-year is the fence is the only one that requires the 5-year.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're removing the requirement to have a survey that's less than 5 years old to pull
Yes.
a fence permit?
Correct, as long as it's not on a waterfront property.
Okay.
Which is
and-
2 years.
2 years, yes.
And the requirement for it being signed, a hard copy, or can it be a facsimile or a copy of?
We do take online permits for fences.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Any other questions asked? I assume. Thank you, Jessica. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Madam Chair,
Oh,
if you can please open it up to the public.
Okay.
apologies.
Yeah, that's fine. Is there any public discussion? Well, typically you do, but I don't know, we're going to wait. You can just come up and identify yourself and fill one out afterwards. I apologize. We opened it up, I thought, in the beginning for public forum, and I saw none, so,
This is first time.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Brian Coleman. I live at 2945 Allegro Court, which I am inundated by water from Catalina. I am not normally lakefront, but right now I am 4 inches from holding water in my house. Am I considered lakefront if I want to put a fence on my land? I have woods behind me.
Staff can get with you after. We can work with you and look at your property to determine if you're lakefront or not.
Okay.
Yes.
Because the flood plan from 2 years ago, the new flood plan is right on my corner of,
Okay.
which I go 5 feet down.
Staff will get with you after the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, thank you. Are there any other public comments, participation? I see none, so we can move with the motion.
So I'll make a motion for the Planning and Zoning Board to recommend approval of ordinance number 17-2024, amending section 110-806, fences, walls, and hedges of Article 8, supplementary regulations of Chapter 110 zoning of the Land Development Code of the City of Deltona.
Second.
So second. Any discussion?
Yeah, somebody's raising their hand.
Well, come up to the podium, please.
I'm not sure if I heard correctly.
You have to give us your name and address.
My name is Jackie Zalados, 2620 Howland Boulevard, and I walked in the room and I thought I heard you guys talking about a chain link fence if you live on lakefront property. Is that something that I heard, or did I hear that wrong?
There was from the city a representation that was what was required, and we're trying to move on from that requirement of a chain link fence on waterfront property.
Yeah, I don't like that one. I don't.
So you would have the option to do chain link or regular wood
Have
fence?
to do a chain link.
You would not have, correct?
That's all.
Oh, yeah, no requirement.
Yeah, that's
We're
fine.
trying to move away from that. No, okay. All right, we're a little out of sync here today, but we're moving along and getting progress. So we have a second motion. There's no discussion.
Gotcha.
And so if you can call for the vote, that would be appreciated.
Member Gonzalez?
Gonzalez votes yes.
Member Pfeffer?
Yes.
Alternate Dierico?
Yes.
Alternate Zetos?
Yes.
Secretary Amoroso?
Yes.
Vice Chair Cardo?
Yes.
Chair Burke?
Yes.
All right, motion passes 7-0.
So staff comments, are there any comments from the staff?
I just want to reiterate, we are having our last comp plan meeting on the 26th, which is a Saturday. It will be from 10 to 12 in the chambers.
What date?
October?
It's October 26th.
Are you sending an email?
Yeah, there'll be an email sent out tomorrow morning.
10 to 12?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Anything else?
Can I just make one comment?
Yep, that's the next section.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we're there.
I have Rachel giving me the eye so I don't forget.
Okay, no, we're at there was no other staff comment. You may proceed.
So just to let everybody know, this Saturday from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. is the Deltona Community Gardens Fall Festival and Plant Sale that occurs at the Deltona Community Gardens, which is located in the Van Park area. We would love to see everybody out there to support the community. Thank you.
Very good. I encourage the board members, as well as the staff, obviously, to participate if they can. So, do I have a motion to adjourn for the day?
So moved.
Second. All vote?
All in favor?
Adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All not? No. All right. Adjourn.
Wait, can I have those?